Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Never Seen It. My name is Trent. I'm sitting here with Betsy, like always.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, Betsy. It is movie number 4 of 4 of our bad movie series, and we could not go and have a bad movie series about a bunch of movies we haven't seen without watching the be-all and end-all of bad movies, The Room. Betsy, neither of us have ever watched The Room.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened because we know people who have seen the movie. They have fucking events in this town. There has been somebody from the movie coming to this town to do an event at our local movie theater about the movie, and we've never watched it.
Correct again.
So what do you know about it? Because I barely know anything.
Yeah, Brie Larson is kidnapped in high school and she's left. Wait a
No.
second. Hold on.
That's Room.
That's a different Room.
That's Room. That's actually a good movie. No, tell me, Betsy, what do you know?
I know that Tommy Wiseau is the name of the man who wrote, directed, edited, acted. This is his baby.
Yes,
He did
this is
all the
his-
things.
Sure, let's call it a baby.
And upon release, it was right out the gate a bad movie. Everybody knew it. Everybody told their friends, this is not a good movie. And yet somehow, people out of morbid curiosity kept going to this movie saying, no, this is the greatest, worst movie that's ever been made, to the point where Tommy Wiseau has tried to reclaim and say, I did it on purpose. I'm a genius.
Sure.
I meant it to be this way. And so it has this now cult status where people from the movie get to go around and talk about The Room. And they made a movie about the making of this movie.
Yeah, a Hollywood-ass movie was produced
Nominated for Oscars.
by real actors and real writers and everything else about the making of the movie and about the man himself. Of course, that movie being The Disaster Artist that got put out by James Franco and Seth Rogen.
And Dave Franco.
And Dave, yeah. But of course, all this that we're talking about here is kind of surrounding the movie itself, but not actually talking about anything in it.
No, because I don't actually know really what the plot is.
No.
I know because I'm on the internet, little things like, hi, Mark, and you're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Sure.
And, oh, hi, doggy. Like stupid shit like that I know comes from this movie. But the actual plot, as I understand it, is kind of incomprehensible. And I don't really know what it is because people don't talk about the content of the movie. They talk about how bad it is.
And that's not really what we do here on this podcast. We don't necessarily talk about everything surrounding the movie like right after we watch the movie. So this is gonna be kind of an experiment in and of itself because this movie is so fucking weird.
Especially because there are going to be people tuning into this going, well, why aren't you going to see this with
Sure.
the crowd? Why aren't you seeing this with an audience? Because it's so bad. We understand that. But Trent is also a purist. He wants to see this movie in its full, unfiltered glory.
I can't have fun like all of you other guys. And Betsy can't either without knowing what the movie is. So let's go and watch it for the first time so that we can be in on the joke. We will be right back after watching The Room. And we're back. Betsy, what the ever-loving fuck was that?
Trent, I don't think I can do this. Johnny's my best friend. He's my best friend.
Johnny's my best friend. What are you talking about?
Trent, Johnny is my best friend.
But he's my best friend.
That movie was unbelievable. And I don't mean that in a good way. This is the kind of movie you genuinely, and I'm not even kidding you, apart from the very, very last scene of the movie, You could rearrange this entire film and it would make just as much sense as it does in its current iteration.
Yeah, because there's not really any kind of trajectory of anything. The story, the characters, what the hell they're talking about is going in circles. So yeah, I see what you're saying.
And they keep adding things and introducing people and setting up plot lines.
And then these people that they introduce do not come back. They have no bearing on the story whatsoever.
Or the scene starts and then it's like, oh, I forgot I have to go do a different thing and the scene ends.
Bye.
Also, you know what this movie really could have used? Some more establishing shots that aren't actually establishing anything.
Betsy, did you know that this was taking place in San Francisco?
No. You kidding me? I'm also pretty sure they were trying to suggest to me they lived in the Full House house because they kept showing that fucking angle of the
That's
street.
just San Francisco.
Yeah. We have some things to talk about, Trent. Like,
We really
like
do.
a few things that we have to discuss.
I mean, I think what you said when we came back, I don't know how you cover a movie like this other than just pointing out how ridiculous it is without seeming like they were meaning for it to be ridiculous. The stuff I was just reading in the IMDb trivia makes it seem like Tommy Wiseau and only Tommy Wiseau was treating this movie like it was a goddamn masterpiece, and everybody else on set was just looking at each other thinking and saying probably out loud, what are we doing here? What is this?
This is absolutely insane. No one is ever going to see this movie.
Yeah.
They genuinely stopped trying. Everyone making this movie
Literally.
threw in the towel and said, forget it.
Literally, it says in the trivia that the cinematographer who is in charge of making sure that the camera is ready to go, everything is in focus. They use the clapper thing to indicate what scene is what,
And what
so
take.
so that they can go back when in the editing room to see, okay, in what order is this actually in the script. Well, by the end of it, they just stopped checking the cameras. They stopped writing the scene numbers on the clapper. They just stopped caring because no one actually thought this would ever come together.
And the more insane thing is that he still clearly used some of that footage because there were moments like the scene where she seduces Mark and they're making love on the stairs. There is a shot where it's supposed to be her hand on his back, and instead of the focus being clear on her hand, it's focusing on the pole next to them.
It's like your phone auto-focusing on the wrong thing,
Yes.
and you're trying to like tap the thing, tap the screen so it focuses on the right thing, but it still just goes in and out. It's like that.
But they used it anyway. And
Yeah.
there's a couple other things distinctly out of focus in this movie.
Yeah, and I think he paid special attention to all of the sex scenes, and there are many and very long sex scenes in this movie. And I'm going to say right now, I don't think Tommy Wiseau has ever had sex because that's not what it is. That's not what that is.
He just loves to be naked and he wanted to show everybody, look, I'm willing to bear this all for cinema. Look at my ass. Let me roll over on the bed with my sheet, basically with my crotch exposed.
Basically, yeah.
And thrusting.
You see so
so
much
much
you see
thrusting.
so much of him without actually seeing his little Tommy.
Within 7 minutes of the movie starting, it just goes right into this.
Betsy, there were 3 sex scenes in less than a half hour of this fucking
I
movie.
literally made you pause the movie because I needed to know how far we were
It
into
was like
it.
26 minutes or
There's
something.
tits in the movie within 5 minutes.
Yep.
There's a second sex scene within the first 12 minutes, and then a third before half an hour is even done. It was like 26 minutes, I think, when you paused
And
it.
then you had to throw in another one. And then there are other people supposedly having sex in his apartment without anybody knowing and without us being introduced to who the hell they are.
Trent, are we sure we didn't just watch a porno? Because there were 2 thoughts I kept having watching this movie is I'm either watching a porno
I'm
where a
nodding my
lot
head.
of the sex scenes just got edited, or I'm watching a soap opera, because the way that the music never ever stops and the way it is clearly trying to get you to feel certain emotions, it felt like watching a daytime soap opera.
Betsy, I could not agree with you more here, because that was my exact thought. It's like, this is a soft core pornography, but sprinkled in, it's a soap opera. And I don't know how else to describe what I just witnessed, down to the fact that some of the framing shots and the fact that they basically never leave this house. I mean, it is called The Room, so maybe that's what this whole thing is. But just how everything looks makes it seem like it's just a soap opera, including the fact that the storylines here are just this woman cheating on her boyfriend / fiance with his best friend. Did you know that they're best friends, Betsy?
Nobody told me this. This is new information to me.
I know.
Mark is Johnny's best friend.
I know. What the hell? They should have told me that.
I wish.
Oh, this is an impossible movie. Not only to talk about, but to explain to anybody, because it is inexplicable. I don't know what else you got, Betsy. I'm kind of at the end of my own rope here.
Well, Trent, the tests came back and I definitely have breast cancer.
Well, shit.
But we're never going to talk about that again. Or, you told me that the computer industry was bad right now, and we're never going to talk about that again.
The computer industry in 2003, when this movie came out.
We got a big client at the bank, but I can't tell you about it. That's confidential.
So, how's your sex life?
How's your sex life? Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't see it was you. You're my favorite customer. Genuinely, I could not stop laughing watching this. And I just had my jaw open most of this movie, because every time I thought it couldn't get weirder and the dialogue stranger and the hard cuts to establishing shots that are establishing nothing, every time I thought they had gone far enough, they went farther. And it blew my mind. And again, not in a good way. Like, at a certain point, I was like, how does this movie end? How do you end this movie where really nothing happens? Nothing happens in this movie.
The only thing I can really come up with here, and I'm sure because this movie has been covered and talked about to death, this is not a new theory, but this character of Johnny, this is just, I feel like Tommy Wiseau went through a breakup much like this, and he wanted to maybe do something to himself, but instead he wrote it down and made a movie about it, which is why he was feeling so serious about it, because this is his own life. And I also have a feeling that he doesn't really like women all that much.
I don't know what could possibly make you say that, Trent. That tramp, that bitch, that whore, the woman he's in love with. But he did not hit her. He did not.
When are you coming out?
In a few minutes, bitch. Good God. Good God, Trent.
And before this whole episode just turns into quotes that both of us wrote down, I think we're going to take a quick break. We're going to compose ourselves a little bit more here, and we're going to come back with some more discussion about The Room.
Feeling run down, lethargic, a little bloated?
Yes. Oh, God, yes.
Well, have I got the prescription for you?
Oh, no, not another pill. I take enough of those that I find in the dumpster behind the Burger King.
Oh, no, it's better than any dumpster pills. It's patreon.com/neverseenitpod.
I'm interested. Tell me more.
It's premium content from those jokers at Never Seen It. They have 4 other weekly shows, plus bonuses.
I've heard of those guys. They're like super talented and funny.
And sexy. Don't forget sexy.
Oh, then I'll definitely check them out. Thanks, disembodied voice.
Anytime.
So I don't know how else to talk about this movie in and of itself without just talking about each individual character. So let's start with the logical start. Talk about Denny.
Obviously, Denny is the logical place to start.
Logical place to start, because the way he is described is that he is a kid who lives in the same building, who's going to college, whose tuition is being paid by Johnny. He doesn't have any parents, I think. And this couple is basically taking care of him.
And he wants to be in a throuple. I assume that they all make out off camera because that was the energy I kept getting every time that weirdo showed on screen.
Danny just kept on putting his nose into everything here from the fucking get-go. As soon as the dress is on her, he shows up and says, hey, you look good in the red dress. Can I come upstairs with you? Can I just hang out? Because clearly you guys are about to bone.
No, we're gonna take a nap. And then he follows them upstairs.
And gets in the bed with them as they're having their sexy pillow fight.
I just want to be near you. All right, then.
What is this relationship?
Like, genuinely, I thought he was going to try to start kissing them. Again, the porno thing. It felt like so many times in this movie, people were going to make out and then never did.
Most of the time they do.
Well, no, most of the time they don't, but I'm talking like multiple scenes, and I'm going to keep bringing this up, but it just begins with Denny. Denny comes in, and later on in the movie, he admits he's in love with Lisa. He thinks he's in love with her, but then immediately says there's this other girl who we never meet that he's going to marry when he grows up and gets out of college.
Yeah.
And then we're going to make babies.
He says, I think I'm in love with her, and I want to make babies with her. Okay, who's this mystery woman? Can I meet her?
But also, he's apparently maybe into drugs because a guy shows up and threatens him. But don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's not important.
Betsy, I think you're worrying about it. You need to stop worrying about it.
But Trent, it's not important. It's not important. And her fucking mom is like yelling at him. It's like, you have never met this woman. Who is this guy? Why is he throwing a gun in your face? Why are you being screamed at? It's not important. Also, I'm in love with Lisa, and I want to have a three-way with you and my adoptive father.
And then Mark shows up right behind the mother out of nowhere. You don't see him come in there. It's just Johnny comes in and gets behind Denny and starts talking to him, and then Mark's there too all of a sudden.
And then Denny just kind of shows up periodically the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
He's there in a tuxedo when they all decide to throw a football around. He's at the birthday party, but he's only 18, so he can't have any champagne. But he's inexplicably at the house at the end of the movie when, spoiler alert, Johnny kills himself. Johnny dies, and Denny appears out of nowhere, wailing and screaming, leave me, leave me. And we were like, is he going to do something to that corpse? Because it feels like he's going to do something to that corpse.
Yeah. And there's yet another scene with Denny that just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I can't remember exactly when it happens, but it's Lisa and Denny. Denny comes in off the street, comes into the apartment, and then just nonchalantly sits on the floor.
To have a conversation with her.
Why? He just comes in, sits on the floor. There's a empty couch right there. There's an empty chair right there. Why did you feel necessary to sit on the floor? And then the camera just gets a little bit closer and then angles itself down to see what this guy is doing.
But then he stands up.
But
and
then he stands
he
up
leaves.
and he leaves.
Denny.
What the fuck is he doing?
Denny also gives next door neighbor in a sitcom energy.
He does.
He always just shows up looking for Johnny for no reason. We never really get a reason, but Johnny's never home because he's so busy at the bank, even though he didn't get the promotion. And Lisa is always there. And there's the scene where her mom is also there, and she gives this big explanation as to who Denny is and why he's relevant, and then changes the topic completely. Johnny wanted to adopt him. And instead, he's paying for his apartment and he lives downstairs.
And in the same conversation, Lisa says something about, oh, I have clients. What? What business are you in, lady? Also, why is your mother just showing up out of nowhere every single day of your life?
Doesn't she have breast cancer?
She shows up to the party and
shouldn't she be getting some treatment?
Yeah, she's getting down and drunk with everybody at the party. No one seems concerned about the mom, and nobody seems concerned about anything.
But doesn't matter because you know what? She never loved Lisa's father but got married for security. And so you should just marry Johnny. Shut up and marry him. He's a good guy. I always think of him as my son-in-law.
Yeah, he's a part of the family.
He's a part of the family. My favorite scene with the mother was when she showed up at the apartment once again and she said, I have this random woman in my life who wanted to buy a house, and I asked Johnny to give her the money for a down payment, and he said no. Isn't that unbelievable? Yeah, no, it actually makes a lot of sense that you and this random woman asking for a down payment for a house, and he says no. That seems very fair.
You live in San Francisco, one of the most, especially in this time, in like 2001, 2003, where the dot-com bubble had just kind of burst at the end of 2000, 2001, but real estate and everything else is still very expensive in San Francisco. How can you afford a 2-story apartment in San Francisco on a banker's salary? Well, one salary.
Trent, I have so many more questions about Johnny and his situation because the story he tells about how he and Lisa meet is that he had no fucking money and a check he couldn't cash.
Yeah,
and then she had to pay for dinner.
Yeah.
And yet he now has all this money but can't get a promotion. There are some missing pieces to this backstory.
I'm putting my head in my hands right now because it's so bad. And I'm going to take a pause here and just say, despite everything that we're talking about here, the fact that there's no semblance of a plot, there's no continuity to anything, there is no likability to any of the characters, I can see why people love this movie. I can see why this has spawned this cult status and why there is such a fervor around it, because a normal person like you and me could make a movie and it would probably be bad.
It might be comprehensible, but bad.
Yeah. But you put a man like Tommy Wiseau, who is full of gusto, and you give him a camera, you give him a budget, and he makes a movie that he really, really wanted to make. And because he had that gusto behind him, he makes this. And because it's so earnest, and because he thinks that it is just the best thing in the world, I think that's why it works. I don't know how else to say it. It works.
It doesn't work because objectively this movie is terrible.
Absolutely.
But also, I was laughing so fucking hard at this movie.
It is like a goddamn clown car filled with clowns getting hit by a train. And you think it's horrible. It's completely horrible, but it's still funny. It's still entertaining. And there's colors everywhere, and you cannot look away. That's my analogy.
And you also, I think, can see why this spawned a movie about the making of this movie.
Well, it's a book. Like,
yeah.
Mark, the guy in this movie, he wrote a book called The Disaster Artist.
Oh, Greg Sestero?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what that movie is based on.
And that's why that's the guy who tours around with this movie.
Yeah, he has come to our town in the past. Yeah.
Twice he's been here.
For a showing of The Room in our city.
Oh, I guarantee he's coming back too. Because if he's been here twice, he'll be back.
They'll have him again. And believe me, I want to watch The Disaster Artist, the movie now. 100% we are going to watch that movie. I have no idea if we're going to cover it for the show. Probably not. But I am fascinated by this movie. I am fascinated with its history. I want to know more, and I need to have more.
That's the problem with this movie, is you cannot look away, as you said, and you're now, I need it. I
don't think it's a problem, though, because there's so many movies that have been made in just our lifetime that have such a cult following and have a huge story behind it. This is one of the top ones that is just in the ether so much, and there's so much that has come out because of it. A member of the cast put out a book. You've had people on the crew speak out about the movie. And Tommy Wiseau himself, as the character that he is embracing all of it because it's all about him.
As I said, he has also come out and like retroactively said, no, I meant it to be this way. I meant it to be this
I don't
funny
believe
thing.
that for a goddamn second.
He's full of shit.
Yeah.
But now he's actually started to make money on the movie that nobody ever thought would see the light of day. That is wild. 20 plus years ago, we made this pile of shit, and everybody on the crew said, no one's ever seeing this movie. No one's ever watching this.
Yeah.
And somehow it's the little movie that could.
What's the little director that could? Tommy Wiseau was the guy who literally put money up to keep the movie in the theaters for an extra week or two so that he could qualify to be nominated for an Oscar. He was that delusional. Or he had that much confidence. You show me a delusional guy and I'll also show you a guy with confidence, for fuck's sake.
And that delusional confidence also reflects to Johnny in some weird way, to bring it back to this movie.
Totally. And I definitely want to start talking more about the characters in this movie because there's so much outside of the movie that we could keep on talking about. But you have to really look at this through the lens of not a moviegoer, but just an observer of humanity. It's so strange to even say it like that, but it's true.
An anthropologist, if you will.
Yes.
A sociologist.
Yeah.
A person who likes to people watch.
That's me and that's you.
Yes.
Which is why this is so fascinating to me, and I cannot believe it's taken us so long to watch this trash.
Like, I was not excited to watch it, but I'm
No.
glad we finally did this because I get it.
It has awakened something inside of me.
in a way I didn't expect, certainly.
Definitely not. And I need to talk more about some of the people in this movie. Let's talk about the some of the minor ones. First of all, the couple that comes in after Lisa says something about having clients,
Mike and Michelle.
whoever they are, they come into the apartment because I think that they're her clients. They let themselves into the apartment and then proceed to have sex on their couch.
And we've never seen these people.
We're not introduced to them. We have
don't
no
have
idea
their
who they are.
names.
No.
We don't know why they're here. Two young people just start making out with a mouthful of chocolate, which is about the most disgusting thing I could imagine. Because have you
Again.
ever eaten a chocolate?
Again, I go back to the fact that I don't think Tommy Wiseau had ever had sex prior to making this movie. So you got the gal who is having the chocolate, either feeding him or whatever between them. He takes off his shirt and has no nipples. He has inverted nipples. I could not look away from his not nipples.
We'll call him Inverted Nipples McGee.
They quickly put on whatever clothes they took off, even though, see, that's the other thing about this. There's a couple of occasions here where there are sex scenes happening where people don't take off their clothes. Like when Lisa and Mark are on the stairs supposedly having sex, they still got clothes on.
They are only naked from like the waist up, sort of.
Not even. She was still wearing a shirt. Yeah, he took his shirt off. That was the time when the focus was off.
Mm-hmm.
And in this scene where this mystery couple comes in and starts to get down, they don't get naked, even though the other people come in and catch them. They're fully clothed, but he had his underpants off.
Okay, I have to talk about this guy because later he's got a scene with Johnny where he tells Johnny about how embarrassing this sequence was for no real reason. There's no reason for him to regale us with this story. And then they all just throw a football around because they do that a lot in this movie. And then I'm pretty sure we never saw him again because the next time we see his girlfriend, Michelle, she is with another man who we have never been introduced to before.
Yeah.
And either that is supposed to be Mike and we just completely recast him and acted like it didn't change as we would a soap opera, or
Yeah.
or everyone is delusional, or I'm having a psychotic breakdown. I don't know. But literally, where the fuck did Mike go?
It's as if they shot the scene, him taking his shirt off, and they saw his not nipples, and they said, "You can't be on this set, man. You need to get your shit and get out of here." They recast him and then put the same character with a different actor later on in the movie.
Because after the football scene, I don't remember seeing that man. I don't remember seeing him at all.
I don't think that he was at the party. This is some other mystery man who goes up to Lisa and says, well, after he catches them in the act.
The fact that he is the one who catches them in the act, and I've literally never seen this guy.
Who the fuck is this guy?
And he plays a pivotal moment in the movie where
Right.
he's just like, what's going on here? What are you doing? Who are you?
Who the fuck are you? Oh my God.
And then there's Michelle, who's kind of there through the rest of the movie. But after I never saw Mike again, I was like, is that the same actress? Because now my mind is playing tricks on
Right.
me. Is that a different
Who
woman?
is this? A different one of her friends? Or is this, I don't know who this is.
I genuinely started to wonder. I had
this-
to ask you, is that the same woman?
Is
Because
this-
they could have replaced her.
Yeah, is this the client lady or is this the friend of Lisa who's telling her, hey, you need to tell Johnny?
Which again is the same woman, I think, but I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I'm so confused by this movie. They could have replaced the actress and just kept switching out vaguely similar looking women, and I would not know the difference.
No, and if the filmmaker here had any semblance of how to introduce characters, to develop characters, to write human dialogue, maybe we would be looking at this movie a little bit differently. But it is not even related to a regular movie that we have watched in the past. Can you think of another movie like this that was actually distributed by a movie company? Can you think of another movie you have actually watched like this that is completely incomprehensible?
I can think of a few movies where somebody just appears on screen and then they kind of introduce them, but it's really jarring the first time they show up.
Yeah, but it's
then
maybe
But it's
once.
like one moment in the movie, and then the rest of the movie makes sense.
But it's half the characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Like at the party, there's like 4 or 5 people in the crowd that we've never met before.
Also, you were really, really hoping because they kept cutting away from the party that it was just them planning this party,
Them saying surprise.
them saying surprise, and then cut away and we never
and
come
then
back to
cutaway.
the party.
They did so many cutaways of establishing shots of downtown San Francisco in the dark, and then they cut right back to the party as if there was complete continuity.
And they don't even really set up the timeline here. She says, people are going to be showing up any minute. We have to finish getting ready. But then he is shown like leaving, and there's like hours in between. And then they come back and yell surprise. Like, was the party today? Was the party yesterday?
already happen?
Did it already happen?
Like, what's her name came over with a bag of bread, and
I think it was bread.
She's taking out one piece, putting it down, saying a line, taking out another piece, putting it down, saying a line, taking out another piece, putting it down, and saying a line.
I have to look in this bag and then pause and then deliver a line. I have to look in this bag and then pause and then deliver a line.
And implying that there's going to be a party happening within minutes, hours, days. I have no idea because they do not actually establish when things are happening. Down to there is another establishing shot here of a church in the middle of the movie. Okay? We're shown a church. We have established that these two people are semi-engaged.
And it's happening soon. They keep
Yes.
saying, you're going to be my wife soon.
Exactly. Then we cut to his apartment and everybody's there in their tuxedos, and it seems like they're getting ready to go to the church to get Johnny married.
Because there's 4 guys in tuxedos. Why would you possibly be doing this otherwise, especially with the establishing shot of a church?
Yes.
Logic dictates.
Even Peter is there in a tuxedo.
Another guy who we
another-
just met 4 minutes ago.
Another guy who's not actually introduced. He's just there talking to Johnny, and he's a psychologist. Okay.
And then after we play football, we never see him again.
No, we never see Peter again. Also, there's no wedding. Why do they have tuxedos on?
No, the next scene after they decide to go throw a football around in their tuxedos in some random alley is they go to a coffee shop. And I was like, wait.
Why aren't you in tuxedos anymore?
Was there supposed to be a wedding here? Did the wedding get cut? Were you all just trying on tuxedos?
Did you have a wedding and then, okay, you're married and we're not going to talk
Nope.
about that?
Nope, they keep referring
It's
to
even
her.
worse. It's for no fucking
No.
reason.
You know there's books, many, many, many books about screenwriting. Like, you could learn how to do this in a way that makes sense. It's not necessarily going to be a good movie, but structurally, you could follow the guidelines. This movie follows no screenplay guidelines of any movie I've ever heard of.
Or you could just ask somebody. Ask somebody who has actually made a movie.
Trent, why
Get
would
in
I
touch.
why would I ask somebody when I'm a goddamn genius and I need the attention of the Academy?
Yeah.
I don't need anybody's help. I could do it by myself.
One of the more fascinating things that I read in the trivia, and believe me, I'm going to go back to this trivia and
There's
read a
so much
whole
more you
because there's-
didn't finish.
There's so much. I did a very cursory look at it. But one of the more fascinating things, and it does relate to what we're talking about here. Tommy Wiseau decided to, number one, buy cameras for this movie instead of rent them like a normal production would. Because movie cameras are extremely expensive, and there's really no reason for you to own them as a production house unless you're making a whole lot of shit. You're making a one-off movie, you don't need to buy a fucking camera.
No, there are entire companies that exist just for you to be able to rent movie-making equipment.
Totally. It's the entire industry. Anywhere you make a lot of movies, there are companies just set up.
Or TV shows.
That too. But it's not just the fact that he bought them. He bought 2 different kinds of cameras to be rigged up in a specialized cage to shoot on 35 millimeter film and digital HD cameras. Okay? Simultaneously shooting this movie on 2 different cameras at the same time. When he did not realize that if you're shooting on film or you're shooting on digital, you need a different crew and different lighting apparatuses to shoot the scene because different cameras capture the light in different ways. He didn't know this.
Is this also why it seems like the entire movie is ADR'd?
No, I think because that is the audio recording equipment and the fact that I think Tommy Wiseau has an issue with speaking English.
Yes, clearly he has some kind of an accent. I do not know where he is from, but it is not the United States of America.
Definitely not.
But it's everybody in this movie. The dialogue doesn't really sync up with their mouths at any point. And when there's scenes like, I'll buy a dozen roses. Hi, Ducky.
Yeah.
Keep the change. You're my favorite customer. That whole scene feels so weird with the sound. And I don't know if it has something to do with the film or what it was. Let me give you a point of reference for this. I have a family member who made a film.
Yes.
On film. And this was like very, very independent, low budget, he wanted to do it, he did it. And he was using this camera that was so loud that when you recorded the footage, it would literally just pick up the sound of the camera. It didn't matter what you did. It was so loud because he was doing it so low budget.
Because he had such a small production and didn't have a proper equipment to record dialogue separate than what the microphone was picking up on the camera. And because the microphone was built onto the camera and the camera was so loud, the audio coming through was completely useless.
Shit. It was useless. So they had to ADR the whole movie.
The entirety of the movie.
The entirety of the movie. And that's what it kind of felt like watching this.
Yeah.
Was it feels like the camera was really loud and he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And because he's doing it twice, you're also going to have different audio tracks depending on which of the camera footage you use. And ultimately you have to find some way to do sound on this.
Honestly, I think it is just the fact that whoever they had to do the audio did a piss poor job, because there are some scenes here that are not ADR'd.
They're very hard to find. They're
Very hard
to find.
They are there, though. And honestly, it's not even just audio stuff. It is how stuff is framed. We pointed out while we were watching it, I think it was the first time they were throwing a football around when they're literally 3 feet apart. There are 3 guys initially throwing this ball around, but only 2 of them are on screen.
And they never cut back and forth.
No, they don't move the camera back and forth between them, or they just don't even frame all 3 guys. And in the left part of the frame, there's nothing. It's just completely negative space.
You could have backed the camera up all of 4 more feet and you would have gotten everybody in the frame.
Or just pan it to the right and you can get everybody in screen. But then you have another guy introduced here and he starts throwing the ball around and oh my God, there's even another shot here in the room where it's Lisa and then I think Johnny comes in from the door, and the most awkward camera movement I think I've seen in a movie happens in that scene. I can't even describe exactly how it is, but literally I could keep on going about the way this movie was made and how it looks. It's so amateurish that it defies description.
Trent, I'm about to shock you. Did you know that they're not really on a roof in San Francisco?
I was aware
Those
of that.
scenes
yes.
on the rooftop, not really on a rooftop. I don't know if you could tell. I don't think you could. It looked pretty good to me. Like when Mark decides to try to throw Peter off a roof and then pretend like that never happened. Or all the other pivotal scenes up on the rooftop. Like when Denny confesses his love for Lisa and Johnny says, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. It's okay." Again, another reason why I'm like, are you all gonna kiss? Like, you're just okay with all of this? Like, Lisa and Michelle have a sexy pillow fight. I thought they were gonna make out. Johnny comes in. He's gonna look at somebody. I thought they were gonna make out.
Seriously,
Mark comes in
it comes back to the
all the
fact that
time.
it comes back to the fact that this is just a softcore porno, and you didn't even bother trying to make it look like anything other than that.
I feel like they should have just made it a softcore porno because
I would have been
then-
happier with that.
then it would have made total sense. Isn't that insane? The fact that if you had just made this a porno, everyone would go, this movie makes sense.
It would have been the highest quality softcore porno you've ever seen in your life.
Genuinely. But as it is, you were making a movie that you strongly believed in. And it is incomprehensible. I said it earlier. You could just mix and match the entire movie, put the scenes in different orders, except for the end, because of course he dies. You can't really put that in the middle. But you know what? Throw it in the middle. Why not?
Or make it the first fucking scene in the movie.
Yeah, start with that. And then, how did we get here?
Yeah. That
That would've been more
That
interesting.
right there might have made this movie a tiny bit better.
Because
Tell me how it's going to end and then show me how we get there.
But I'm not going to lie. Didn't know that was going to happen. Didn't see it coming.
No.
I also didn't see him, gaining superhuman strength and throwing a television out the window like it weighs absolutely nothing.
Well, then.
Or having a meltdown as he, sort of knocks things
He's
over.
lazily destroying his entire apartment as if he is on. I don't. Another thing that I read about this, that particular scene was that he had a cold, but then he was self-medicating with cold medicine. Plus, he was hopping himself up on Red Bulls
Oh,
to
dear
try
God.
to get him to get through the scene. That's why he is just all fucked up in that thing.
But there's no energy. Like, you're supposed to destroy this apartment, and it's like he didn't want to break everything because they were going to need to do more takes.
Right.
So he just gingerly knocks things over. It's that meme that's going around right now where people are like, I don't want to do things. And then they stomp their foot and kick something.
Right.
That is a thing going on at the time of this recording. Very popular on TikTok. That's what it feels like. He's like, I'm upset. She left me. And then, kind of writhes on the floor and fucks a red dress before tearing it open. Normal things that people do when
And
they're
then
upset.
you find this gun that out of nowhere, there's a gun.
No, it's from, I assume, the drug dealer earlier because he took it away from him.
Oh, right.
So I can maybe actually provide some context for that.
Jesus.
But I was really hoping so many things in this movie never paid off. Like they show him saying, I'm going to record everything and sets up a tape recorder and hooks it up to the phone.
Right.
And then they don't bring it up until the last scene of the movie.
And magically, it's in the exact right portion of the tape because it's a tape
Also, those
to
tapes,
replay it.
what were they, 45 minutes aside? I think those were 90-minute tapes.
Right.
If you were there in the early 2000s and had cassettes. So it makes no sense how it is picking up these conversations. I just kind of wanted them to never bring up the tapes again because it would have been hysterical for that whole scene of him futzing with the phone to then never pay that off. So at least the gun, you can go back and go, oh yeah, there was a gun somewhere else in
What
the
the
movie.
fuck did they do with that drug dealer guy?
Well,
Seriously.
He went to jail, Trent. You didn't notice the part where they threw him out and definitely took him to jail in the 35 seconds they were gone?
Citizen's arrest
Yes.
of Mr. Drug Dealer Man
Maybe
in
they-
the beanie.
They locked him in a room. Okay, I'm prepared to make a bold statement. The drug dealer, best acting in the movie.
I'm
best
inclined
acting
to agree
in the
with
movie.
you. Followed by the mother.
Okay, she's fine, but her dialogue is insane. Everything
That's
out
not
of
her
her
fault.
mouth. But she's delivering it with what gusto she has, I guess.
Yes. Oh, so I know I could just talk about this movie forever and point out all of the different things like every other podcast under the sun has already done, but I think I have to stop talking about this eventually because we're going to be here all night otherwise.
Genuinely, Trent, I just checked my notes to see if there was anything else that I'm like, I have to talk about this. But there's so much still left that I completely already forgot because there's just every 10 minutes, something new is introduced that makes absolutely no sense.
This is a perfect movie to just do a first time commentary track over. Because if we were to keep on going, it is just literally repeating lines after lines after line after line and asking the question, what the fuck is this?
And there's no answer to that question, Trent.
No.
There's no answer. It doesn't make any sense. And that's just going to be the way it is.
We're just going to end with an awkward laugh. Like Johnny does after almost every single line that he makes.
Ha ha!
Oh my
Ha
God.
ha! What?
So,
Okay, Johnny.
So, with that, Betsy, did you have anything else to mention?
No, I have to stop.
Before
I have to stop.
we stop.
We are
have
stopping.
to stop because our bad movie series has to end on a high note.
Question mark? Listen,
Okay,
I had fun,
here's
Trent.
here's a question. Though.
Okay.
We've talked, I think, in almost every one of these other episodes about whether or not you would watch this movie again. I kind of said maybe about Gigli. Then I was a little bit better on Scorpion King, and then Wild Wild West was just completely, for me. I would absolutely watch The Room again. 100%.
As much as it pains me to admit it, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, I think the next time, because like I said, there will be a next time that guy comes to town with this movie. We're probably going to have to go see it.
Well,
we're going to have to go see it.
I think you're right. I think we also have to watch The Disaster Artist.
Yes. So to our friends who are listening, who
Our-
have been
our local-
asking us,
our
our local
local
friends
listeners.
who have been asking us why we don't go and see it with you. Okay, we'll go see it with you next time.
Now we will.
Now we will.
Hey, so hi, this is us from 7 hours into the future where we couldn't help ourselves and we had to watch The Disaster Artist as a companion piece to this fucking thing.
Yep.
Yeah, we just did that.
I am
Literally, we stood up from the couch, we came over here and started recording.
I'm giggling like a lunatic because this is so fucking stupid.
It's so fucking stupid. And everything that I was thinking about during the recording of our episode kind of came true. Like, this guy was a self-obsessed maniac, and he just is who he is.
And nobody on the set could understand it. And they were
No.
just infuriated because he has no fucking clue how to make a movie.
And I love
and
the
they're all
fact-
professionals.
I love the fact that Seth Rogen went to the bank and tried to cash the check
with great disbelief.
Yeah, thinking that it was going to completely bounce and the whole production is a sham. Oh no, there's a lot of money in that account. And the banker said as much, saying
It's basically a
it
bottomless
is a bottomless
account.
pit of money. Holy shit, man.
And then the movie ends with the whole thing that we're all wondering. No one knows where Tommy's from. To this day,
Yeah.
no one knows where his money is from. No one has a fucking clue about Tommy Wiseau. And then if you stick around through the credits,
Yeah.
they got Tommy Wiseau for a scene in this movie, but they put it
did.
in the credits.
But the best thing about this is that they recreated scenes and they put them literally next to each other
Fan-fucking-tastic.
in the credits. Oh my, that was the best thing about this.
Well, you have to understand, there's probably people who sat down and watched The Disaster Artist who never saw The Room. And,
Oh, sure.
And putting the footage side by side just tickled me pink. Oh my God. Some of the casting that they got was really, really good. The girl who was
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
Lisa,
Perfect casting.
she's my favorite actress who plays drunk. And
Yes.
she got to do it even
Yes.
in this. I'm like, this
I love it. She's so
chef's
great.
kiss. Chef's kiss. This is a weird companion piece
Yes.
to what we just did, but we couldn't wait. We had an evening free. We just went for it. Here we are, giggling like weirdos.
And I would say the thing I want the most out of, I mean, at least right now in this part of my life, is an entire fucking remake with this other cast.
Shot for shot.
Shot for shot remake. They don't do any kind of improvements to it whatsoever. Just have these actors make the scenes and make the whole movie. Why not? It's so fucking cheap. There's like one set, two sets, you're done.
You've already made most of it already. Just keep going. Don't stop here.
But I guess with that, I think we're going to go back into the past where I'm editing this and putting this all together and say thank you again for listening. This has been an incredible experience, and I'm so glad that we did this.
What a day, Trent.
What a day.
What a day it's been.
But for those of you who have already seen The Room, maybe a whole bunch of times, maybe you've gone to some of these events with the actual cast or the writer of the book or whoever. If you've already seen this movie and have something to say to us, email us neverseenitpod@gmail.com.
You have to have questions about this movie that we didn't pose in this episode. I want to hear them.
There's plenty of things
Do you
that
have fan theories? Like,
Yeah.
please.
There's plenty of things
Please.
I'm sure are out there, or there's plenty of things that we just didn't talk about or we missed or whatever. Email us those thoughts, email us those questions. We will be happy to address them. Just like Nick from Bad Movies We Love, another podcast, he sent us a message about Wild Wild West that we covered last week. Nick says, "Hi, Betsy and Trent. Is Wild Wild West a bad movie? Yes. Can I defend it? You betcha." You know, throwing in some Midwestern charm in there. I like it. Unlike a lot of the bad movies that continue to hold a place in my heart for nostalgic reasons, Wild Wild West was a movie that I knew was bad upon impact. It's a weird one to pin down in that the cast is good, the performances aren't necessarily bad, the story itself isn't terrible, and the production design and costumes are top-notch.
It's trying to trick you into believing it's a good movie.
Yeah. However, the tone is all over the place. A buddy comedy, buddy cop, action comedy, steampunk sci-fi western. There is too much going on. That's a great, kind of a great one-liner. If you say all those things together, you don't know what the hell you're going to encounter.
That's the Letterboxd review. That's it. The whole thing.
Honestly, yeah. He says, "I love Kevin Kline in this, and Kenneth Branagh is having a great time hamming it up, but Will Smith's performance relies heavily on plug-and-play comedy from his previous successes." Yeah, he's basically playing the same kind of cool guy from other movies that were better. He says, "Caught between the lazy rehashing of an existing IP and milking the star power potential of Will Smith, this movie was not really made for fans of the original TV series. It was made for the summer movie audience, and given Smith's box office success with Independence Day and Men in Black, it seemed like a safe enough bet. Then you fold in the original song and the soundtrack, and who is going to say no to this? The movie was successful too, just not in the same way as those other movies. Yeah, the movie made money. It wasn't a complete bomb, but it took until it got out to the international audiences to bring in the actual money." And he says, "Somewhere in the chaos, there is a good movie in here. Movies that try to do everything often overlook just doing one thing well enough to make it all work. But show me another movie where Will Smith is in drag giving a burlesque performance to a wheelchair-bound Kenneth Branagh. Sincerely, the master of the stupid stuff, Nick."
Oh, thank you, Nick.
Thank you very much, Nick. Go check out Bad Movies We Love, his podcast. They just covered Mars Attacks, and I'm like halfway through that episode.
I'm so glad we heard from Nick while we're doing this series, because
Yeah.
if anybody has spent a great deal of their life, who has dedicated their life to this nonsense, it is him.
Yeah, and this is the one and only time we've ever dedicated ourselves to watching a bunch of bad movies. Yeah, I'm very glad to have an expert in the field of bad movies contributing their expertise to our little podcast. So thanks again to Nick. If you yourself would like to submit your comments, your questions, your queries, whatever, email address, again, is neverseenitpod@gmail.com. If you don't want to email us, we're on all the social media stuff. The links to all those pages are in every episode description. Just go to your podcast app where you're listening to us now and click the thing. It'll take you to the app.
Shoot us a message there.
Speaking of bad movies, we have actually covered a number of really bad ones over on our Patreon page. That is patreon.com/neverseenitpod. If you want to hear more of me ranting and raving about some stupid ass romance movies that Betsy made me watch, go and listen to our Real Love show. We've got a year plus of those episodes out there. $5 a month gets you access to that show and all of our other shows over on our Patreon. We have a lot of fun over there. It's different stuff than what we would cover over here. We don't necessarily cover a whole lot of bad movies or a lot of bad romance movies.
We seem to be doing it frequently over on
frequently
Patreon.
enough anyway. There's some good ones in there too, don't get me wrong. But that is going to be the end of this here bad movie series. I think we will eventually revisit this topic
Not anytime
at a
soon.
later
Oh,
date.
no.
No, I can't take this anymore. Next week, though, is a new month. And the theme for next month is actually something we have dabbled in here and there, but we've never actually dedicated a whole lot of effort into a specific genre. No, I'm not talking about horror. We got all that stuff covered. But no, Betsy, we're going to be covering sci-fi movies for the month of April.
It's going to be Sci-Fi Sunday.
Sci-Fi Sunday is what we're calling this. And next week, Betsy, we're going to be covering a movie that I have never seen, but you have.
And I have been trying to get you to watch it for some time.
That's right.
So now it's getting its day in the sun.
What are we watching?
From 1997, we are watching Contact.
Oh boy, Contact is coming up next week, but you'll have to come back for another episode of Never Seen It. My name is Trent.
My name is Betsy.
We'll catch you next week in April. Bye-bye.